commercial seems to be more of your focus in wholesaling.
Yes, most definitely. And we wholesaled our first apartment building in 2016. And I never forget, it was a 10 unit. And at first the seller wanted 200,000 for it. And we tried to sell it for like 260. All the investors laughed us because it was literally the only property on the whole block. The rest was just like torn down, dilapidated houses on the east side.
Right.
And investor was like, no, this is like a war zone. But the but the building was beautiful, and it was fully rehab. And we eventually got the seller down to 100,000.
Right.
And then we sold it for like 140. So we made like 40,000.
Wow. Right.
And that was like our first apartment building that we wholesaled. So we're like, wow, okay.
Right.
So we did that on a 10 unit. How many more deals can we do like this? And that's kind of where it started. So then I started just putting out in the atmosphere because I believe in the law of attraction. Yeah. So so most people think, keep your head down low, do your thing, don't tell nobody what you're doing, and then you just pop up on like, yeah, I'm a licensed broker. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Or you can just make it gravitate toward you, right? And that's what I did with apartment buildings. I started talking my stuff like, you know what? We just closed this deal. We ready for some more. What you got? Right.
Explain how you present. So when you're wholesaling a building and you're talking doors, like. And so you're talking to investors. These investors want these doors so that they can make good cash flow over a long period of time. Explain like how you pitch or how like the conversation goes.
Like cap rates.
Yeah. So cap rates, typically in Detroit, 10 plus cap is a good deal. That means that basically if the building is $1 million, the NOI, net operating income is $100,000, then it would take you about 10 years to recoup your investment and then start making 100% profit theoretically, right?
Right.
So that's pretty much, what most investors want, but in the suburbs, it's a little bit lower. So I remember a couple years ago, 8% cap was like, like the threshold in the suburbs. Now it's like, man, we got apartment buildings where like the cap is like 4 or 5% right now.
So I've seen some lower than that.
And it's like, wow, yeah, the market has definitely changed, and we still getting investors interested. Like we're actually selling like the 32 unit that I posted when I was in front of the building, and me and Todd did so we're closing on that and like next week. And yeah, that one I want to say the sale price until it sells, but yeah, that one is 100% vacant. And
oh wow!
So do you understand why?
Yes.
Why they're buying it with the lower? Why?
Yes. Number one, because of the decrease in the inventory. Right now, yes, the market is softening in some areas because because we are seeing price drops on the MLS right now. And a couple months ago, we weren't seeing as many. Right. But the thing about it is now that more tenants are starting to pay their rent with the apartment buildings, right? Apartment buildings are, to me, on the high level, like way more attractive than single family. Like I know so many investors that used to own 100 plus single families and gave me their properties to sell so they could jump into commercial. And I would just say, if you want to get into commercial, there's nothing wrong with starting with single family. But I would suggest maybe like start with small, 5 to 10 unit apartment building.
Right.
That's pretty manageable.
In terms of location, so you have like in Detroit. So you talked about suburbs. We know people are going to buy that stuff. But some of the more dilapidated areas in Detroit. So we're not talking about downtown or West Village or Midtown. None of those areas. Just like your straight up East West 7 Mile, 8 Mile.
Or Linwood.
Yeah, like those areas. That's it's taking a little bit more time for it to be developed. But those buildings are selling too.
Right, they're still selling. And Highland Park.
Yep.
Highland Park. Yeah.
And why do you think that is, though?
I mean, it's just a conversation.
Right.
Highland Park, like basically when I would talk to investors, they will always say no Flint, no Detroit, no Highland Park, no Pontiac.
Right. Now that's what they want.
Dang.
You want Highland, but you understand why you want Highland Park.
Because the low property values, right? So you can get it for the low, and then you know you can't necessarily use the comps in Detroit, but sometimes you can,
right?
You know, so the comps in Detroit have tremendously gone up,
right?
So that's what you want, you know, like even like on a nationwide wholesale level. I've never heard as many investors looking for like Mississippi and Alabama properties.
Right.
Now, a lot of investors are thinking, oh, yeah, Alabama's about to be the next spot because you can get the properties for the low.
Right.
You know?
So when you're putting a value on the apartment buildings, it's more about potential income, not so much as
it's always a
like
value add play.
Right.
It's always a value add.
So it's like a rental income approach type thing, and cap rates and things of that nature.
Yep. So that's the beautiful thing about apartment buildings. They're not necessarily valued at the surrounding comps. You can always increase your commercial buildings value by adding, by like increasing rents, renovating the property, but the main thing is increasing rents, right? Okay. Because it's all about cap rate.
Right.
And, the higher the cap rate, the higher the potential value.